The Hard Shell, Episode 0.5 The Story of Blue Streak. A long time ago, around 60 years before Rainbow was destined to meet Tank, there were two mares lounging about in their living room. Well, one of them was anyway. They were sisters. The eldest sister, Rouge Flame, was athletic. She had a light red coat and a light blue short-cut mane. She was exercising on one of the workout machines nearby. The younger sister was named Blue Streak. She had a light blue coat with longer light pink hair tied up in a ponytail. She was happily reading the latest issue of the Wonderbolts Weekly. Both sisters were hoping to become part of the team one day, but judging them at first glance, Rouge Flame was more likely to get a position, since she was older and more athletic.
You're reading that book again?
She asked her sister.
Isn't that the 13th time you read it now?
Well, yes, but I'm so excited! I'll be getting a letter of acceptance for the Wonderbolts very soon!
Blue Streak happily replied.
I don't know about that. The Wonderbolts are a very selective group. You're too young to be in a part of them yet. You're only 18, fresh out of flight school.
I know, but I was the best flyer in the class. Maybe I might become a Wonderbolt at my young age.
We'll see, but I still think you're too young.
The doorbell was heard. Rouge was quick to fly over and answer it. It was the mail pony, who gave them just a single letter. Rouge read the front of it and saw who it was addressed to.
Blue, this letter is addressed to you.
Rouge responded.
But who sent me it?
Blue Streak gasped.
Could it be from the Wonderbolts?
Maybe.
Blue tore the letter away from her sister and began to read. As she read the letter, a huge smile appeared on her face.
I am a Wonderbolt! Woo-hoo! Ha ha ha! Woo-hoo! Yes, finally! Woo-hoo!
Blue Streak screamed from the top of her lungs. She was flying all around the lounge room in excitement. Her sister was shocked with her mouth wide open.
But that's not possible. They accepted you into the team, and with your young age, you won't have to be the youngest flyer ever to join the Wonderbolts.
Rouge spoke. Blue Streak stopped flying for a second and thought about it.
You're right! I could make history! The headlines will read, Blue Streak, the youngest pony to join the ranks of the Wonderbolts.
But that's still amazing. Our parents are going to be so proud of you.
You bet!
The two sisters gave each other a hoof bump in the air. The party was wild. All of Blue Streak's old classmates were able to attend. Blue Streak was rather popular because of her flying records, but most of the time she would spend practicing her skills or studying on her heroes, the Wonderbolts. But that wasn't to say she didn't have friends, of course. Up until her graduation, Blue did give friendship a chance and made a whole bunch of them. Anything like that would make the future Princess of Friendship proud, but she was not alive yet. The room went silent for a little bit as an older mare tapped the microphone. She had short brown hair and she had a light purple body. She was Blue Streak's mother. "Attention, every pony!" she began. "I would like to thank you all so much for this congratulatory party for my sweet Blue Streak. I also have heard from the Wonderbolts themselves that she is the youngest to be accepted. My husband and I have been training these girls hard to achieve their dreams. When only one could receive a scholarship, I still can't believe it was my sweet Blue Pie."
Ugh. Mom, I told you not to call me that in public.
Blue Streak groaned silently. "I know that there are many ponies I want to thank tonight, but there are just too many. Maybe it's time for my daughter to say a few words." Blue Streak went towards the microphone and began to speak.
Yeah, like my mom said, I couldn't be happier to be a Wonderbolt. It's been my dream ever since I was very little, and being the youngest member is an honor. I know after the events of the long battle, the Wonderbolts proved to fly an amazing team. I know after the events of the long battle, the Wonderbolts proved to fly an amazing army. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, of course. It's been 100 years since then. We're pretty cool.
The audience laughed and clapped for the Blue Pegasus.
I wasn't finished.
The crowd went silent.
I also am very excited about my first Wonderbolt show and training sessions. I know they're going to be so awesome! So, wish me luck.
The audience cheered as Blue Streak blushed. Her sister was smiling too. She happily walked up to Blue Streak and patted her on the ponytail.
Congrats, sis. I'm so jealous.
She said.
Why? Because I'm a Wonderbolt and you aren't?
Well, that.
Rouge giggled.
But also because you are achieving something really cool and amazing. You'll be able to tell your grandchildren this many years from now, and you'll be famous, be all over the Clydesdale press. Ponies would want your autographs and photos. You'll be the best Wonderbolt ever.
I wouldn't say I want to be famous. Rather, I just want to have a good time. It's a new experience to enjoy. That's all I care about.
Of course, Blueberry Muffin not taking advantage of the spotlight.
Rouge jokingly scoffed.
Is that your nickname for me now?
Blue smiled.
You're lucky I'm not calling you Chili Pepper.
I was joking!
So was I.
After the party ended, Blue Streak was packing her bags. Rouge and Blue shared a room. Since their house was rather small, they only had about 4 or 5 rooms in total. They had the biggest room of the house to host the party. Rouge looked at some of the posters. A couple of them had the sisters as fillies, having their picture taken by one of the Wonderbolts. She smiled as she looked back at her sister.
Do be careful, okay?
Rouge spoke out.
I will, sis. You don't need to worry about me. We're a tough family. We can withstand anything. Even if I get struck by lightning, nothing can truly bring me down.
I just don't want you to be too confident.
I won't. And I won't get too cocky either. I'll promise I'll be careful, sis. You shouldn't worry.
Blue Streak zipped up her suitcase and put it by her bed. She zipped away and turned off the light before going under her covers.
Going to bed already, huh?
Rouge responded.
Yeah. I got an early morning tomorrow. I don't want to oversleep.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Rouge replied as she hugged her sister again.
Night, sis. I'm going to read downstairs.
Night, Rouge.
The next morning, Blue Streak happily bid her family goodbye as she headed off. Her sister, mother, and father promised to see every show that Blue was going to be in. It was a pinky promise. She flew over to the area itself. All of the Wonderbolts were there, training around the area. Blue's smile only grew wider. She was welcomed by the coach. She looked like Spitfire in the present time, but her mane was darker and she adopted a British accent.
"Oh, hello, Blue Streak," she started. "We have been expecting your welcome."
You have?
Blue Streak asked, squealing in excitement.
"Of course. This is the first time in equestrian history that we have chosen a new member who is not even 20 years of age yet. But with your impressive flying skills, I saw no reason why we shouldn't bend the rules a little."
Both my sister and I dreamed of becoming Wonderbolts ourselves. I guess my sister wasn't qualified enough.
You both were amazing flyers, so it was hard to decide which one would accept the scholarship.
Yeah, true. I would have been supportive for my sister if she accepted it anyways.
I see. Come, let me show you around the headquarters.
The coach happily gave Blue Streak a grand tour of the headquarters. It was everything she dreamed of. There were trophies everywhere, as well as history pages and newspaper articles. Blue Streak couldn't contain her excitement. But she did have to be mature about it. She did want to make a good impression.
So far, so good.
She thought to herself. And it was. The tour was completed as the coach gave Blue her very own uniform to try out for size, when there was really hardly any need to, since most of the Wonderbolts had similar body shapes. Then when Blue was ready, she couldn't wait for her first training session. She wanted to test her new suit out. She took into the air. She never felt so alive and free before. She was enjoying herself immensely, until a whistle could be heard from below her. The coach. This drove her to fly out of her path and straight into the cafeteria. The rest of the Wonderbolts gasped in shock. The coach made her way through the crowd.
"Blue Streak, I told you not to fly by yourself on headquarters. It's dangerous,"
she proclaimed.
Dangerous? I was just warming up. You were the one blowing your whistle and distracting me.
Blue Streak responded.
"Oh man, did you see the way that newbie crashed through the cafeteria?"
One of the Wonderbolts spoke. "Yeah, rather she smashed through it," another said.
"Blue Streak? Rather like Blue smash!
a third one concluded. Everyone in the cafeteria was now laughing, except for Blue and the coach.
Cut it out, all of you! You shouldn't be making fun of your fellow teammate. She just has a lot to learn, that's all.
The captain tried to speak out, but no one was listening.
It's okay, Coach.
Blue sighed.
Maybe I'm not cut out for it anyway.
Blue Streak left for the door and walked to an empty spot outside. She looked at the clouds. They made all different kinds of funny shapes.
Wait, Miss Streak, are you all right?
The coach walked up to her and asked.
I'm sorry for flying when I wasn't supposed to. I guess I let my excitement get in the way.
Blue Streak sighed.
Sure, that was wrong, but we don't get through here without making mistakes. I run an institution where we are allowed to mess up from time to time and—
Wait, seriously?
What I'm saying is, being a wonderbolt isn't always easy. We are always expected to perform our best shows. I show the rest of the team that it's okay to make mistakes as long as we learn from them. One of them even made up a system to remind everyone of their first mistake. They get a nickname. That teaches us to be better professional flyers in the future.
Getting a nickname is better for us? I wouldn't have thought that was fair.
Don't worry about it too much, Miss Streak. Every wonderbolt here has a nickname. It's not as if you're left out or anything. You'll fit right in.
The coach walked off smiling before Blue Streak flew in front of her.
Wait! Thank you for telling me what I needed to hear. I know I can be a better wonderbolt. As my sister said, I'm going to be the best wonderbolt ever.
That's the spirit. A week had passed. Training and choreography had prepared the Wonderbolts for their first show of the season. This was also Blue Streak's first ever show. She was super excited, waiting in the wings. The other Wonderbolts were talking amongst themselves. Blue then attempted to make conversation.
Who's excited for their first show? I know I am. Woo!
Blue shouted from the top of her lungs. The others laughed nervously.
Yep, we are all excited, but we all must remain professional,
one of them replied.
Got that, newbie?
Professional? Sure, don't worry. I can be professional.
I hope there's no pressure that you have the opening act in our performance, another Wonderbolt mentioned to Blue.
I have been practicing, Limpy. Being the opening act, I know it will be super awesome,
was Blue's response. Meanwhile, Rouge Flame and her family members were in the audience, waiting patiently for the show to start.
This is it,
Rouge's mother proclaimed.
My daughter's first show, and she's the headlining act. I can't believe it. She's finally grown up.
A headlining act? How do you know that?
Rouge asked.
Well, doll, it says right here in the program,
her mother replied, handing her the program in question.
Huh. She is. No pressure.
I shouldn't worry about it, hun. Nothing could go wrong. The Pegasi have scheduled the weather to be sunny all day.
The coach made her way to the small area and started to make her announcement.
Hello, mares and gentlecolts,
the coach began.
Welcome to the 23rd Annual Wonderbolts Tour. We are so thrilled to perform to you today, but first, give a warm welcome to our headlining act, the youngest member of the Wonderbolts to date, Blue Streak.
The crowd cheered. Blue Streak's nerves were starting to kick in. She took a deep breath and began to walk out onto the grass. The crowd was cheering louder. She geared her position and launched herself into the air. She performed a couple of somersaults and backflips. With each trick she had practiced, the crowd cheered more and more. Blue Streak's dream was finally being fulfilled.
Look over there!
An audience member cried. The rest of the crowd looked behind them to see a dark grey cloud heading their way. Blue Streak stopped her act and looked at the cloud in worry.
What should we do, Coach? I thought there was no rain scheduled,
a Wonderbolt mentioned.
I thought so too. The weather ponies did make sure of that. I'll try to call them to move this away.
The coach gathered some weather ponies to try and move the cloud, but it was very unusual. The Pegasi in charge tried their best to move it, but the cloud went through them. It couldn't be controlled by the Pegasi. Next, there was wind. Every pony started to panic, as banners were flying all over the place. The coach managed to gather all of the audience members inside safely. All except Blue Streak, who was still outside, standing on the grass. Her sister noticed this and tried to go outside.
Blue, are you crazy? Get in here, it's dangerous!
Rouge cried. Blue Streak was almost frozen in her position until she heard her sister's voice. She hurried over to the shelter. When she tripped over a huge stick caused by the wind, she fell over in pain. Her right leg and left wing were injured. She tried to move, but she couldn't because of the high wind pressure. Then, there was thunder and lightning striking random places on the grass. Blue's heart pounded as she tried to get up, being pushed back down again from the wind. Finally, there was a flash of light, then darkness and silence. What had happened exactly? Blue wasn't sure. She opened her eyes. She could see a red room with a white floor. She slowly got up and rubbed her eyes. She couldn't seem to see anything else around her. No ponies, nothing.
Hello?
She called out.
Any pony here? Coach? Rouge Flame? Anyone?
Her voice echoed through the room. It was almost a barren wasteland. Where was she? But then she wasn't alone. Smoky figures began to appear out from the darkness. They had white eyes and had appeared to be children. They flew closer and closer to Blue Streak, creeping her out.
What? What are you?
She asked them. None of them spoke back as they flew closer. Blue Streak couldn't take it. This was getting too creepy for her. She backed up till she felt a hard dirt wall. She was trapped. There was no escape. What was she to do? "That's enough," a voice bellowed. The smoky figures backed away and faded into the darkness. Blue Streak was shocked and confused on what had just happened. Then the figure the voice belonged to showed herself. She was a smoky figure like the others, but she was a mare. Her body was dark blue. She had a white outline, and to top it off, she had red eyes with white and black on the inside.
Thanks.
Blue Streak sighed in relief.
You saved me. What were those things?
Them? They were called demon foals. Don't worry about them, though. They won't do any harm to you. I guess they were just curious, the figure replied, circling around Blue Streak. Come to think of it, I can see why. I haven't seen a normal pony enter my caves in a millennia.
Where am I, if you don't mind me asking?
Welcome to the demon caves. Not so much to see here, just demon foals and their ongoing problems. And what is your name, child? Blue Streak shivered, but she knew she had to be polite.
I'm Blue Streak, and you will not believe what happened to me. First, I was just flying in my very first wonderbolt show. Then, with one flash, I ended up here in whatever an equestria this is.
Blue Streak, huh? The figure contemplated. That sounds familiar. Kind of surprising that you ended up here minutes after Well, never mind, I'm going off topic. Very interesting story, but you probably don't know my name. Well, let me introduce myself. Flash and smoke surrounded the mare. I am Iris, queen of the demon foals, the mare bellowed. Blue swore she could hear the word queen being echoed in a one-note choir. It was probably her imagination, though.
So, if you're the queen, do you know every inch of this place?
Why, indeed I do. Every area.
Do you know of a way out?
Iris froze in her position. She was thinking. She knew there was a way out, but it wasn't easy. Well, I'm not sure that you'd want to hear it. It's rather complex, was her response.
Please, I want to go home to my sister, my mother, and everything else. I'm willing to accept any way, any solution you throw at me, no matter how complex it is.
Iris smiled evilly. All right then, she replied. Your decision has been made. She drew Blue closer to her. Here's what you do. No pony simply leaves the demon caves. There is a specific way to get out. You must find 5 gemstones.
5 gemstones?
Blue Streak asked.
That's easy. This place looks like it's full of gems. I could just pick 5 from the wall and...
Oh no, dear. The gems won't be found on the cave walls.
Then Where will they be found?
Inside 5 demon falls. Bluestreak was nervous again.
You mean those creepy foal things that almost attacked me? Are you insane?
They won't attack you. They don't have the power to do so. They are trapped in a single memory. That memory is when they were created. These aren't normal ponies, Bluestreak. I could say they are more like smoky holograms or figments. They appear after a colt or filly earns their cutie mark and experiences grief shortly after that time. Then, they remember that time forever.
Blue began.
That's
really depressing. So, what do I have to do to find the gems inside them? Do I have to perform surgery? I'm not good at doing that.
No, it's not that simple. They are made of smoke, so more likely you will poke straight through them. The only way to do it is to listen to their stories and help them through their crisis. I've tried, but it got so tedious. I had better things to do anyways.
So, like, a pony psychologist?
Yeah, something like that probably. When you talk to a pony that is a gem, it will turn into one and end up on your wrist. If it is the greatly huge chance that it isn't one, nothing will happen and your efforts will be wasted. Bluestreak thought about it for a bit. Are you sure you want to go through with it? Iris asked again. Blue put her hoof down.
Of course. If it is the only way to get out of here, then I don't care how long it will take. I will never back down from a challenge. That just isn't like me.
Blue said confidently. Iris was not shocked by this. She only smirked. Well, good luck. The gemstones are hidden in 5 demon falls, and there are thousands of demon falls. It will take you days, weeks, or even months to talk to all of them. Iris grinned. Also, the demon falls are called Sparkle, Apple, Gem, Butterfly, and Party. Not like you'll remember that, though. You'll probably forget. It's easy to forget in these caves. Bluestreak was up to the challenge. It was either spending days, weeks, or even months, asking one demon fall after another, or staying in the caves forever and never seeing her family again. She had begun her crusade. Iris was right. There were many demon falls. There were hundreds in one place. She didn't know where to start. She saw a dark yellow filly with a ponytail sobbing her eyes out. She figured that was the first place to start.
Hello? Are you okay?
Bluestreak asked the filly. The filly cried out, leaving Bluestreak shocked.
Okay, calm down. Start from the beginning. Also, what is your name?
My name is Peacock.
Rats. That isn't any of the names.
Bluestreak thought.
But I will tell you my tragic tale.
The filly began as she cleared her throat.
It all started with an audio.
Bluestreak sighed and began to listen. She now knew what Iris meant about it being tedious. Every demonful she went to began telling their stories as Bluestreak just went along with it. 10, then 100, then 1,000. Bluestreak had lost count. She was also starting to forget things. What month it was, what year it was, how many she interviewed. There were only a handful of things she could still remember. Her name and her birthday. By now, her birthday had passed and she was now 19. But she didn't remember anything else. Like why she was asking the demon falls in the first place.
I'm sure if you believe in yourself, you can accomplish great things. Even face against that dragon who accidentally stepped on your house.
Bluestreak spoke. She was talking to a demon foal. She was trying to keep some enthusiasm in her voice.
Thanks, I will.
The little colt replied. No surprise, no gem. Bluestreak turned around and the demon foal had vanished, probably to appear somewhere else in the caves. She dragged herself from the ground and began to walk.
I've listened to so many demon falls now. I only remember a handful of stories.
Bluestreak collapsed on the ground in boredom.
I'm done. This is taking forever. I don't remember why I'm here, and Iris is probably the one to blame.
She face-planted on the ground. She had almost given up.
Yes! I have all the gems now. Next up, my demon foal. Wherever she may be.
Another voice was heard. This got Bluestreak's attention.
Gems. Gems! I remember the gems!
Bluestreak thought to herself as she dashed to where the voice was. It was a green realm. She saw a cyan Pegasus with a rainbow-colored mane. She had 5 gems on her left hoof. Bluestreak walked closer to the Pegasus without being spotted.
What is a pony like her doing here?
Bluestreak thought to herself.
I have to go and investigate.
Rouge Flame was still concerned. It had been 3 months since the storm. Unknown to Bluestreak herself, she had got struck by lightning, which explains the flash. And she had been in a coma for that time as well. There was a knock on the door. Rouge quickly answered it.
Hello, Bluestreak's family.
The pony addressed. It was the coach.
What is it? How is Blue doing? We've been visiting her for days, but she still hasn't woke up.
Rouge asked.
Well, I saw signs of movement.
The family gasped in shock.
She's waking up.
It seems like it, but very slowly. I came here as fast as I could to let you folks know.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Rouge hurried her parents and the Wonderbolt's coach to the hospital. Bluestreak indeed had signs of movement. This had been going on for about 14 minutes now, but with each second, she was closer to opening her eyes.
Come on, sis. You're so close. Wake up.
Rouge spoke to her silently. Then, like a miracle, Blue's eyes finally opened. It was 9 a.m. on the dot.
Rouge? Coach? What am I doing here?
Bluestreak uttered. Rouge hugged her sister really tight.
Hoping, Celestia, you're right. You were struck by lightning during that storm. Then, when it cleared, you weren't moving, and we were all very worried.
Oh, yeah.
Bluestreak replied.
Which reminds me, I had the strangest dream. I woke up in this cave surrounded by these creatures called demon wolves. Their queen told me the only way I could escape was to find 5 gemstones, but I interviewed so many. Then there was this mare. She was a Pegasus like me, and she had a rainbow mane. I found out that she was my granddaughter and I had gone forward in time. Her name was Rainbow Dash.
The rest of the family was speechless. It was a very complex dream. Rouge just burst into laughter.
That is the weirdest dream I've ever heard.
She giggled.
Stop laughing! It felt so real to me. Like I was actually there and it wasn't a dream.
Okay, silly. You've been dozed off like that for 3 months. Your mind can come up with any crazy shenanigans.
What I want to know is, how did you survive?
The coach asked.
I mean, it was a pretty big bolt that hit directly on you. A bolt that massive could easily kill some pony.
Well, let's just say that a blueberry muffin and the rest of us come from some strong Pegasus ancestors. We are invincible to lightning.
Rouge replied. The coach blinked.
Well, that's a reasonable explanation,
was her response. Every pony just giggled. Some time had passed, and Bluestreak was well enough to participate flying with the Wonderbolts. She had become one of the best flyers in the team. Newspaper articles kept flying in about her achievements. She had also participated in a couple of Equestria Games tournaments through her time as a Wonderbolt. But it wasn't until a few years later, when she was practicing a triple twister swirl, that she crashes yet again, but this time not into food, but into a stallion. His name was Thunderstark. He was one of the new Wonderbolts on the team, but he was the same age as Bluestreak. For those who want to know, Thunder was Rainbow's grandfather. Yep. Sometime later, Blue and Thunder got married. Sometime after that, they have a daughter called Firefly. Even when the decades passed for Bluestreak and as she got older, she always remembered meeting Rainbow Dash back in her coma dream and hoped that she would meet her again. Many years later, an elderly Bluestreak was looking at the sunset. She was with her 4-year-old granddaughter Rainbow Dash.
Grandma,
The filly asked.
do you think the sunset is awesome?
The elderly man nodded her head.
My dear, it is. Almost all the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, except green.
Bluestreak giggled.
Yes, you don't see that much green in the sky, do we? Well, maybe someday you might create green in the sky.
How?
I don't know. You'll find a way.
Bluestreak picked the young filly up and put her on her back.
And when you do, it It will be amazing.
Bluestreak took off towards the sky and soared with great heights. Her granddaughter giggling away. She was happy she got to see her again, but if she told Rainbow, the little filly would think she was crazy.
Grandma,
Young Rainbow spoke as she hugged her grandmother's neck.
you're the most awesome grandmother a pony like me could have.
Bluestreak smiled warmly.
And you are the most awesome granddaughter I could have. I wouldn't trade you for anything.
The pair of ponies flew towards the sunset. Bluestreak had finally fulfilled it. She got to see her granddaughter again, and it was the happiest and most precious thing ever to happen to her. More than becoming a wonderbolt, and more than all the trophies she had won over the years, nothing, absolutely nothing, could replace it.